Don't touch the dial. Good morning and welcome to Trends in the Papers on 98.3 Mainland FM, the sound of Lagos. Thank God it's Friday, the very last Friday in the month of March, the very last day in the month of March, 31st March 2023. It's been quite a ride, hasn't it, with the election season and the fact that, we have a president-elect, and by May 29, a whole lot would change for the country, and then in turn change even for you as an individual, because good governance will tell you a whole lot as regards the lifestyle that you keep and, your way of life, generally speaking. So it's been quite an eventful ride for Nigerians, for the world at large as well. But we keep moving, and hopefully somewhere along the line, we'll get to meet up with the light at the end of the tunnel. My name is Omobola, Sandra, and we'll be looking through the front pages of the major dailies that we have here. And, Fuhad Saheed via the phone line will be giving some in-depth analysis to top trending stories from the papers. Before we move on, good morning, Fuhad.
Yeah, good morning, Sandra. And thank God it's Friday.
Yes, thank God it's Friday. So we're moving. Yes, let's keep on. I will start with interesting stories across the papers this morning, as expected. Of course, things are getting a little bit, should I say, tense or dramatic, with the interim government conversation, and also, so many cases in court, so many things to monitor at the same time. But then let's start with the Punch newspaper. That's quite an interesting one. We should start on a light note. All right, the major headline on the front page of the Punch newspaper: IU PDP nullifies IEM, Fayoshe's suspension, sanctions Ward Exco. And we have riders to that. Opposition party lists ex-Katsina governor, 4 others, as peace moves begin. Party reverses autumn's summons to face disciplinary panel, 6 members unity. So Damagum seems to be doing quite the interesting ones, in PDP, as it is, as acting national chairman. He has reversed the suspension of Ayodele Fayose, former Ekiti State governor, former Senate President, Ayim Pius Ayim, and this was disclosed by the National Publicity Secretary Debo Olugunagba. Also, the Benue State Working Committee of the PDP has suspended the executive of the party in Igorov ward of the Boko local government area of the state. So do we see maybe there seems to be some sort of healing grounds, taking over in the PDP as things seems to be quelling? Maybe this was what was so desperately needed, the absence of Iyorchia Ayu as the national chairman.
Well, for me, I think it's a bit too early to say the PDP is finding a way to heal itself and, of course, bring some form of unity back to that party. Because again, somehow the acting chairman seems to be doing a lot to bring the party together. The fact that he has now reversed the suspension of Fayose, other party members, Ayim Pius Ayim, and the rest. But we'll wait to see how the party is able to come together again. Again, we always say this, that the reason why it's important that we talk about the PDP is that, look, no democracy thrives without a very viable opposition. And that's why, sometimes when issues of the PDP comes up, you see us, dwelling so much on it and talking so much about it. So we'll wait to see. For me, it's just too early. I've always said it. The PDP can always come back together again, unite itself if only the political gladiators in that party drop their ego and personal ambition and look at the common good of the party, the interest of the party. And I will say it again, Sandra. The guys that need to sit down together, reconcile, and push a proper agenda for the party are not more than 10. Honestly, they are not more than 10. Those guys need to sit down, lock themselves up in a room, speak true to themselves, and then move forward as a party. Move on as a party, let bygones be bygones. But again, you don't want to ask yourself, Sandra, why is it happening now when they've lost the presidential election?
Isn't it? It's almost like medicine after death, because if all of these were possible, I never thought it was possible for IU not to become the national chairman. So if all of these were possible, why wasn't it done before? And resolve whatever issues that may have been brewing, and then go to the polls as a united front. Why now?
Well, I don't know, honestly, because again, if there was one election that the predictions were there that was going to be very tough, keenly contested, it was going to be difficult to predict any winner, it was going to be the presidential election in 2023. Every prediction pointed to the fact that it was going to be very, very tough. So I was wondering, why would the party be so happy to go into that kind of contest with a very divided house, as in with extremely divided house? But again, the political wisdom of some of these guys, I'm not in a position to judge it. But if I'm going to be looking at this, as an outsider, I'll say that, look, PDP was so unwise. So I've gone into that election, a very divided party. But, well, it's good that they are finding a way to reconcile, a way to bring the party together. It's all good for democracy. The PDP can come together again as a party.
Well, because one would think that, the climax of everything now would be, the suspension of IU as national chairman by the ward executives in his local government, because without that, we won't be seeing all of these reversals and, statements coming from different corners. So at the end of the day, it all boiled down to IU doing what was IU and the presidential candidate doing what was necessary for the party. Okay, but then more details on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Moving on now, we also have here Ondo chapter tackles Adebanjo over Afenifere chieftains. I really don't know. I don't know. If the intents and purpose of which Afenifere was put together or established upon still resonates still now, because a lot of things you have factions, you have so many statements coming out and all. Now we have the Ondo State chapter has condemned the suspension of the publicity secretary and organizing secretary of the group by the meeting that was presided over by the acting national leader of the association, Pa Ayo Adebanjo. And then some people would also say that, maybe Pa Ayo Adebanjo should also take a chill pill and just calm down.
The man has hijacked that group. There was a time that there was a tussle between him and Pa Fasaranti.
Yes.
I think
that was as regards endorsement or no endorsement or no endorsement.
No endorsement. So I think Pa Ayo Adebanjo sees himself as the facto, the alpha and omega of Afenifere. So it's about his own interest. Whatever he wants is what Afenifere should want. And again, our political reality, again, I'm speaking as a Yoruba man, I don't see the relevance of Afenifere, as a Yoruba man. I don't see their political value, their political relevance in this at this time. But again, because it's a group that has been there, it's a group that, resonates with the average Yoruba person. And of course, somehow they've been able to position themselves to always talk about policy issues. And that's the reason why they seem to always make the news. But the reality is that I don't see their political value. I don't even see their social value again. Because it's just about one man who feels that whatever he wants, whoever he hates, whatever he doesn't like, should be the position of the group. And look at this. Now you don't have a group. So how would I even take that kind of group serious? Again, I don't take many groups seriously anyway. My position with groups. I see them as people just position themselves for political patronage and all of that. So it's good if I'm just sorry, I don't really take Afenifere serious. I think we should not bother with that.
Well, as it is now, there's still a lot of conversations going back and forth with the suspend placing an indefinite suspension on executives that at a meeting that was held at Adebanjo's residence in Ogun State
Inside
over
his palace.
over an alleged gross misconduct. As also, excuse me, the national leader of the association. This is, these are amazing times. Trying just we have an acting national leader, and then we have a national leader. So I'm wondering what exactly is happening within the same
So I've told you,
within the same
Sandra,
association.
you see, the thing is that these groups are just there for political patronage. When they were founded at that time, maybe the reality of Nigeria and Yoruba race needed that kind of group, of course, to push the agenda of the Yoruba people and all of that. But honestly, at this time, I find it difficult to really see their relevance in the scheme of things. Again, because it has become a one-man show. You now have a situation where Papa Soronji is there as the national leader, then you have acting leader, and then Adebanjo sees himself as the facto leader, is the Alpha and Omega. It's just about his own interest, and whatever he says is final, and that's the position of Afenifere. I'm sorry, you're not even speaking for me as a Yoruba man. I'm sorry, I don't see their relevance.
It's okay. The national leader of the association, Pa Ruben Fashoranti, issued a statement also condemning the resolutions held in the Adebanjo-led meeting. But going forward, I don't know what else to expect from Nafen Ferry, but more details on page 12 of the Punch newspaper. We also have here, Whitney, Lagos arraigns Chrisland, principal, others for manslaughter. It's interesting, I must say, although cautiously optimistic, but then it's interesting, the way the Chrisland story has been going on. Forgive me, but, in times past, we have learned to, say, oh, well, oh, well, oh, well. But here we are, months after the conversation is still going on, and it seems that something will actually be done this time around as regards, what made a lot of schools, let me just put it that way, what private schools seem to be making a norm now, just looking away from serious issues as paying attention to their students. So what we have now is that the Lagos state government has arraigned Chrisland Schools Limited, the principal, vice principal, and 2 other employees over the death of one of the school's pupils, Whitney Adeniro, and they were arraigned alongside the school before Justice Oyindamola Ogala of the Lagos State High Court in Ikeja. Okay, and they were arraigned on 2 counts bordering on involuntary manslaughter as well as reckless and negligent acts preferred against them by the state. So, Fuhad, can we
Yes.
say, finally something is being done as regards, the schools and, all this negligence?
Well, I just think this will serve as a lesson to school owners generally. Not even school owners again. I'm also looking at people who run hospitals, whether public or private hospitals. When it comes to institutions that serve the public, that they can be held for negligence, they can be held for manslaughter and culpable negligence in situations like this. Especially for school owners, some of them are so negligent, it's just about money. They don't really care about processes and procedures and how they can properly administer and run their schools. So again, that's the case in court. We'll see what's going to come out of that. But I just think school owners need to pay attention to the Christian issue and learn from it. That some of the things you overlook or don't even bother with can come back to haunt you and haunt you very hard. So I just think it's a lesson to school owners and maybe hospital owners and people who run facilities that the public use, that they must, pay attention to details and always keep their eyes on the ball, because it could go this kind of way where you find yourself, being arraigned in court.
More details on pages 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. Let's keep moving now. We also have Muslim couples can get intimate after breaking fast. Fuhad.
Sorry? I didn't hear that.
Sorry, excuse me.
He called me and...
Oh. I'm just saying. Muslim couples can get intimate after breaking their fast. That's coming from clerics. All right. Muslim married couples, I guess. Congratulations. I don't know what Muslim married. That's what I said.
All they have to congratulate about.
Be happy. Be happy. Well,
why is that even making the news, really?
I that's why I'm saying be happy, because for you to make the news, that means it's very important to them. But an imam at the federal
people who think it's important.
An imam at the Federal University of Agriculture Abeokuta Mosque, Isale Igbeyin, Professor Sherifdeen Karim, has explained that Muslim couples can have sexual intercourse during the month of Ramadan, but only after they have broken their fast.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's amazing. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's I don't think it's news. I think
it's on the front page of the Punch newspaper.
I'm shocked that it's making the front page, but again, it is what it is. It's just normal for any Muslim to know that, really. That's not for couples married couples.
That's married couples.
Not be Muslim. Married. We are married. Okay. Yeah.
It's okay.
Properly married.
It's okay. More details on page 12 of the Punch newspaper. I wish them all the best. Sanwo-Olu, Makinde, others get certificates of return and they have pledged good governance. Okay. Amen. More details on page 25 of the Punch newspaper. Now, above the masthead of the Punch, OPS predicts woes as national debt hits 46 trillion naira.
Anyway.
So, interesting days ahead. The Debt Management Office has revealed that Nigeria's total public debt stock has increased to 46.25 trillion naira, or $103.11 billion. And that's as at the fourth quarter of 2022. And this is actually interesting. The latest figure has made members of the organized private sector and economics to predict that tougher days are ahead for Nigerians and firms, especially as an administration will be handing over to another administration. So that's why I'm concerned, Fuhad, with all of these projections, all of this, they were in the open. I'm sure that none of the presidential candidates as at then will say, oh, they were not aware that, oh, we're owing this much. Exactly, we're owing this much, or that we have so much responsibilities that we're going to be stepping into when we get to, Asorok. So looking at this now, there's no party to blame now, because it's the same party. It's the same party handing over to the same party. So you can't say, the other party was the one that misused the funds or misappropriated the funds or whatnot and all of that. So do you think that this administration is actually prepared for, the days ahead?
Well, I really don't know, Sandra. Although this current government would always justify this huge debt burden, pointing to a number of infrastructure that they've been able to provide. Second Niger Bridge, blah, 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 the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, they have a long list of projects to justify the reason why we're in this huge debt. But one would think that, again, yes, we can talk about borrowing to provide infrastructure. But I think that one of the areas where the government has failed is to be able to shore up the revenue of the country, block leakages, then reduce government expenditure in terms of cost of governance and all of that. Again, part of the issues that I had always raised before the elections about, constructive engagement, really asking the how. Because it would have been easy for us to ask any of the presidential candidates before the elections what they were going to be doing about reducing our debt burden, what they could be doing about, showing up revenue and showing that we have enough. Don't go continue begging, borrowing, We don't continue to borrow to a point where we become, how do I put it now? We become, this state, I'm looking for this word now, where we can no longer borrow again. And again, I'm worried, Sandra, because I'm not sure that the new government will not also continue to borrow. Because we have gotten to a point where we are even borrowing to do basic things. We are even borrowing to pay salaries. We are borrowing to run recurrent expenditure. Even it was just borrowing to fund capital expenditure, you would have even made a little sense.
Oh, no, no, no.
But Sandra, we're even borrowing to fund our budget.
We are borrowing to fund our borrowing.
We are another one. We are borrowing to fund borrowing.
It's interesting. The just as you have carefully explained. I mean, these figures are actually worrisome because the truth is our revenue base is very low. So just as you are predicting, maybe, I mean, this is Fuhad that is speaking. I tend to,
but it's not maybe.
I tend to lean towards a lot of things. I just hope that I just hope that even if the new or incoming government, actually is going to borrow or not, I hope that there'll be more transparency, as regards, what it's used for and, what exactly it's being implemented on, or sorry, being disbursed for. That's what's important. There's nothing wrong in borrowing. I think we've always said that. It's okay. But then, what are we doing?
The accountability that comes with
what
it.
Are we doing? What are we doing with the monies that we're borrowing? All right, because looking at it now, hopefully this debt would not be on recurrent expenditure because that would be a total waste. I hope it will be something resourceful, something that would actually help to bring. I mean, if we had borrowed 46 trillion naira to rebuild or to rehabilitate like 2 of our refineries, or the 4, I don't think anybody would be peeved.
Complain that okay, this is what we're able to do. Yeah,
this is what we're able to do because at the end of the day, we would be able to repay or whatever loans that it is that the Angola story keeps coming to mind every time, all the time. The Angola story, the Emirates story just keeps coming to mind. This oil and gas boom that because of the Russia-Ukraine war and all of that is supposed to be a blessing to Nigeria, but
here we are.
Here we are. We are still talking about
Sandra,
who came second or who came third in our elections.
Honestly, like you rightly pointed out, this Ukraine war is a blessing to countries like Saudi Arabia, to countries like Angola, the Emirates, and all of that. Because again, these are guys. Look at what we are doing, Sandra. Just look at what we are doing to ourselves. We don't have any functional refinery. So basically, what we do is put our crude oil out there. People help us to refine it. Some of the byproducts we can't even account for what happens to. Because again, it's not just our petroleum. There are a lot of things that come up from things. So we now use our own forex now to go and import these products. Upon using our hard-earned forex, very scarce forex that we don't even have to bring this refined product in, we still have to pay a very fraudulent subsidy regime. So where I'm saying that this government fails heavily to look at our revenue generation system was that I thought that, look, since they know that the oil sector was the provider of about 90% of our revenue, they would have fixed our refineries, solved the issue of subsidy, and then ensure that at least we can account for what we are making in the oil sector. But for 8 years, the same story that we came up with, we are hoping for that change. We are now even worse off as a team. So I don't know how the new government is going to tackle this because again, they are scared to think that we're going to remove subsidy. But the reality is that if you remove subsidy without addressing the need to refine locally and take care of our local demands, Nigerians are going to suffer. There are already figures out there between 450 to 750 per liter and all of that. I don't know how an average Nigerian is going to cope with 400 naira per liter, not to talk of 750 naira per liter.
750 naira.
Well, I don't know how Nigerians are going to cope.
Just as experts have said, tougher days ahead. Hopefully, we would get to the light at the end of the tunnel. More details on page 17 of the Punch newspaper. We also have here election tribunal. Tinubu gets Atiku and Obi's petitions, and that is on page 25. All right, the back and forth has begun, and we will be watching closely as it all unfolds at the tribunal. And finally, from the Punch newspaper, controversy surrounds Silva's alleged resignation.
There's no controversy. If you claim you are resigning, there's a letter of resignation.
We just like being dramatic.
Just sensationalized.
All right, so there were claims on Thursday that the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timipre Silva, had resigned his position as minister to pursue his ambition as governor of Bayelsa State, but senior officials of his ministry could not confirm this, although they admitted it that the rule of the APC required the minister to have resigned in about 30 days before the April 14th gubernatorial primaries. The official refused to confirm if Silva had resigned or not. So, for lack of words, the Punch decided that okay, so this unconfirmed, rumor is a controversy. All right, it's okay, no problem. All right, so
you know what, Sandra?
yes,
I really want to pity the APC on this because I think the court will teach them a big lesson. Because the reality is that the rule is clear that 30 days before the primary, they are supposed to resign, go pursue your ambition. So if within these last 30 days, because I think the primary is for April
14th.
So if Silva performed the function of a minister in the last 30
days, April 14th is just 14 days away.
That's what I'm saying now. That are we sure he didn't perform or issue statement as a minister in the last 30 days?
How about?
I'm asking now.
That's true. If he did not sign anything,
sign anything, maybe issue a statement, or maybe, perform any official function as a minister within the last 30 days. That's one issue. Then if he had resigned, of course, it's always very easy to get his resignation letter.
They said they can't confirm it. It's not confirmed. We don't
know.
Right.
The court will help them to confirm it.
It's okay. I don't know if it's confirmed or not. I just hope that they know what they're doing, because if you have someone who did not go through the right process, because aside from the APC constitution, even the Electoral Act also says something about officials, and the fact that appointed officials, exactly. So, but then we wish APC all the best. There's still 2 elections that we're looking forward to at the end of this year.
I'm sure the PDP bias is taking stock, getting their evidence ready.
Why Fuhad? Are you opening doors for the opposition?
No, because this idea of
it's
not even supposed to be a controversy, really.
No, it's not. The thing is, Punch is not able to confirm if he has resigned or not. And I don't think that should concern us, because at the end of the day, we'll go to the primaries, we'll monitor it, we'll see, how things turn out.
He's going to contest.
Exactly.
And he may not even contest.
Exactly. So more details on page 10 of the Punch newspaper. Let's move on now to The Guardian. You're listening to Trends in the Papers on 98.3 Mainland FM. We're looking through the trending stories on the front pages of the dailies. Now, the front page of The Guardian, the major headline: obedience protest in US. Labour Party distances self from interim government plots. And then we have riders. APC kicks as US approves White House park for anti-Tinubu rally. Lalong, interim government advocates are daydreamers. Name, arrest those behind plot. IPAC chairman Agbakoba charge DSS. DSS alarm employed to arrest Atiku Obi before May 29, Frank alleges. Huriwa, nothing wrong using legal means to stop Tinubu's inauguration. Call for interim government treasonable, warns SDP's Adebayo. Supreme Court dismisses Nwajuba's suit seeking to disqualify Tinubu. SPV saga, CCB invites Keyamo to substantiate allegation against Atiku. I really hope the DSS is somewhere and, taking stock and taking note of all of this, because with the statement of plot of interim government, coming in, a lot of people, of course, different reactions to that particular alleged plot from the Labour Party disassociating itself from the alleged plot to, so many conversations as regards any unconstitutional arrangement to install an interim government with the SDP presidential candidate, Adebayo, also saying that any call for interim government is actually treasonable. So, of course, these reactions are expected, or Fuhad, don't you think? I mean, that when that report came out, of course, the conversation as regards an interim government, I don't think, we've always had this conversation, though, since last year. I remember Reverend Chris Okotie of House on the Rock Church also, advocated for it, and, some major political stalwarts also advocated for it sometime last year. But then, as we edge closer to the inauguration of, the president-elect. The conversation, of course, still is ongoing. Also, civil rights advocacy group Huriwa, Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, has said there's nothing wrong in applying legal means to stop the inauguration of the president-elect because the February 25 election that produced him is still being actively challenged in court by the leading candidates in the polls. So, I mean, one would expect that was supposed to be the way out, but then calls for interim government. Are we stretching things too far?
Yeah, well, we are stretching things too far, and I think people are becoming very responsible about these things, and I think we need to condemn it. Again, people should be careful what they wish for. I think we have not learned any lessons from what we've gone through as a country. Now, this is the reality, and this is the fact, Sandra. An interim government is not known to our laws. It's not constitutional, it's illegal, and I think we should just not even bother with it. Because, again, it's not even known to the Constitution. So who is going to set it up? How is it going to happen? Something that there are no constitutional explanations for how it can be done. That's number one. Number two, again, is in standard. This is the reality of for people who are calling for me. Again, because look at it. This interim government also goes with some people calling for military incursion for democracy and all of that. And I just laugh because, when people enjoy so much freedom, they not really want to value it. The fact that we are on radio, we talk, people are able to call in and all of that. I guess a lot of people who are making these calls never really witnessed the dark days of the military era in Nigeria. A lot of them did not really witness it. As young as I am, I witnessed military things in Nigeria, and I know what it is to be a citizen in a country controlled by the military. So I think we should be very careful things we wish for, the way people are going about these things. And I also think the DSS, like some people have said, if we have enough facts about people planning these things,
exactly,
why can't they just swoop on them, arrest them, and then, of course, prosecute them?
Exactly. Than raising
so if they have
this
enough
apprehension.
Evidence,
yeah.
So because one would think that, again, the DSS is a secret service, security arrangement that should even get to arrest people without even giving them a lead. We have enough information about them, investigate them properly, look at what they are planning out, document evidence against them, arrest them and take them to court. And I'm saying again, our politicians should be careful the things they say. All these insightful comments, can we all just be reasonable and responsible with what we are saying? Look, Sandra, lastly on this issue, there's none of the frontline presidential candidates that have not enjoyed decisions of the court, that have not been a beneficiary of decisions of the court in the past. Asiwaju Tinubu has benefited from decisions of the court in the past. Mr. Peter Obi severally has benefited from decisions of the court in the past. There was Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has benefited from decisions of the court in the past. And even Rabiu Kwankwaso. So I'm sure that these guys would never doubt, the ability of the court to do the right thing. And whatever comes out of the court is final. The conversation for better electoral process continues. To continue to have that conversation. People who are saying that, if a process is faulty, the foundation is faulty, you have to bring everything down. Yes, I agree. If the foundation of our electoral process is faulty, we can resolve that faultiness not by bringing down everything, but by continuing to talk about it, bring up issues where, identify where the faults are, try to fix it, not by trying to pull everything down because, the thing did not go your way this time. It could go your way the other time, another time, when the process gets better. So, again, I think we should just give everybody, we have a country to protect. Some of us will not jump out. It's a decision. We are ready to stay here and build the country.
Of course, just as Fuhad has said, thank you very much for that very extensive, analysis of this particular situation. That we anticipated, that there was going to be a lot of drama in this election. It was a very, very keenly contested one. very competitive. It was just unlike any other election cycles that we have ever experienced as a democratic nation. But then I remember that we always said that let's us just try to manage our expectations. I think it was the fact that a lot of people were not able, they expected way too much from the elections. And so because, they're not satisfied with, the outcome and the upset or that happened at the elections, a lot of people are almost calling for the extraordinary to happen.
Sandra, the election cycle is not even completed yet. We are in the last lap.
Cases are in court, so why can't we be patient? Fuhad, if only we can. Maybe people don't know why we have all these off-season elections. Maybe we need to educate people on why we have off-season elections. It's because cases went to court, courts decided, and somebody was removed, and another, election was done, and that's why we have states like Kogi, Bayelsa. Anambra, Edo State. Exactly. That is why they don't have their own elections with the general elections. It is because of outcome of court cases. All right. So if only people can just sit back, relax, be patient, trust the judicial system, and maybe we can. Maybe we can all think more logically. Let me put it that way.
A lot of people don't know that. For example, Mr. Peter Obi, twice he was reinstated as governor of Anambra State.
Fuad.
From court decisions.
Fuad. I don't think anybody's going to forget. I don't think anybody will forget, because it was from there that we had, a first female governor, for 3 months.
For 3 months.
Yes, because he was
and he was reinstated.
He was deposed, for misconduct, gross misconduct, misappropriation.
He went to court.
He went to court. He fought his case, and then he was reinstated. And then the woman stepped aside after 3 months. All right. So I don't think anybody's going to forget. It's interesting how, everybody just ignores the little things, and, the bigger picture is on everyone's mind. But then let's move forward now. Hopefully, the DSS, the security agencies, the judicial system, everybody that's associated with this would, be able to do something. But most important thing is the election cycle is not over. All right. Let us, trust the justice system, the judiciary, that, something will be done. If anybody has any grievances, cases are in court already. Let's just hope for the best.
And Sandra, trusting the justice system is not for you to assume that whatever you want is going to come out of the courts. Because again, court cases are not won on emotions and sentiment.
It's
about documentary evidence.
It's just that it's just like our listeners expecting us to only attend to the whims of their emotions, which unfortunately is not how this job is being done. Everything has to be plain, fair, transparent, and just free as possible.
Work with facts alone. Facts alone.
Very important. Now, let's keep moving. Let's move forward now. More details of that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. We also have here, First Bank has rebranded its subsidiaries in UK and others. That's on page 3. We also have Tech Hitch's MAR UTME mock exams. That's also on page 3 of the Guardian. We have here, governments, financial institutions, others on alert as attacks on biometrics rise. And that one is on page 15 of the Guardian newspaper. So just very, very quickly, what we have is, as biometric registrations continue to prevail in many countries, especially in Nigeria, governments and businesses have been warned and alerted to the rise in attacks on biometrics across the globe. Specifically, a new biometric threat intelligence report from iProve observed that in the past year, there was a 149% increase in threat actors using emulators to attack mobile platforms, adding there has also been an increase in novel face swaps. So, this is a serious cause for concern, because if we are having attacks on biometrics globally, and then our IT guys are all jackpying, or we're having a brain drain in the IT sector, so help us Lord, if all our monies will not be wiped out. Just 2 months or so ago, Flutterwave or so, lost billions of naira.
The cyber attack.
to cyber attacks. So now here we are. There's an attack on biometrics. I really hope that this would also be taken into consideration, that the digital economy ministry would look into this. Hopefully, really, I sincerely hope that something will be done. More details on page 15 of the Guardian newspaper. And finally, from the Guardian newspaper, aviation workers berate Sirika, vow to resist demolition of Lagos offices. That conversation is still going on.
Something in my mind tells me that somebody is interested in hijacking the little thing left of the Nigerian Airways, the little that we have as a country. But again, I don't want to go speculative on the issue. I just think that this Nigerian air team is not going to, bring up issues of corruption again going forward. When I say corruption, dirty dealings and corruption. Because again, I'll still continue to ask the same question. Again, before I sound like a broken record. Why are we so desperate to have a national carrier when we don't have what it takes to run it as a country? We don't have what it takes to run it there. So we have to go cap in hand begging Ethiopia Airlines to come and help us out. And then what's the sense of, why are we so desperate? What's going to even give us?
As regards the Ethiopian Air, they try to justify it, saying that I'm not, trying to be interested.
I'm just reporting what it said.
Exactly. There was the report from the from Hadi Sirika, from the Ministry of Aviation, that they actually put out an ad for investors, and the only one they got, although that's also questionable, because the transition company is supposedly or allegedly linked to Hadi Sirika. So whether or not there were other investors or because that's what
when open bids are made, sometimes don't you know there are ways people circumvent the process. Is it just about opening it up? Does that mean it's transparent?
They said they opened it. That they opened it and nobody came forward. They were expecting the local airlines. It's okay. But as we have now,
we are waiting for it to fly.
You want to fly in it?
We are just waiting for it to fly.
Aviation Workers Union have reiterated their earlier vow to resist the federal government's plan to demolish office complexes of aviation agencies in Lagos State to make way for a new airport city project. It's interesting, how all of these things are being done in a hurry. Less than 3 months to hand over, and then we
want to achieve what we did not achieve
in 8 years. Well, we wish them all the best. More details on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. This is Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos, and you're listening to Trends in the Papers. My name is Omobola Sandra. Fuhad Saheed is also via the phone line. Now, let's move on to the Nation newspaper. We have here major headline: Sage Agbakoba Falana, interim government unknown to law. Now, riders, legal giants seek trial of plotters. Lalong, interim government schemers are daydreaming. So, this is still as regards the interim government plotting, or the alleged plotting of interim government. But I really, really hope that the DSS, have more details on this. Who are these people? Can we have their names? Can something be done, as regards, all of this? Because it's a serious cause for concern for them to come out.
Before they decide to come out public on it, one would expect that at the level of the DSS, they have all the information about this. Unless for sake of strategy again.
They don't want
because to. Because again, sometimes you issue statements, to kill these intentions in the minds of people who are not seeing it.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't work for the DSS. I'm just saying that whatever the strategy is, it could be two ways. Yes, they have the facts. They have a list of people. They understand what they are doing. They already have information about how they are planning it, because they give us two things. That one, they are going to be sponsoring protests, and then, of course, we'll be looking at the judiciary to get frivolous court injunctions to stop the inauguration. Those are the two issues they pointed at. So one would think that, okay, maybe they have facts about this thing, or maybe at the level of the DSS, they also have facts about people planning it. And so to even kill it in their mind, not to even attempt it at all, try to put out that information. But whatever it is, we are hoping that the DSS is on top of this. And of course, they are going to do what they need to do to protect democracy.
All right. Well, lawyers are speaking, Nigerians are speaking, politicians are also speaking. A lot of people are saying a lot of things, and I think everyone is, in the same direction, repudiating the conspiracy. All right, very important to call it out, and whoever or whatever they are that are putting this in place, that they should just let's kill the idea. More details of that on page 4. All of the reactions from the different corners. Those who condemned the plot, we have Professor Itse Sage, Dr. Ulisa Agbakoba, Femi Falano, Mba Okweni, Ahmed Raji, Chief Ajibola Aribisala, Babatunde Fashanu, Adekunle Oyesoya, and Emeka Etiaba. All of them are senior advocates of Nigeria, and they have all condemned the plot and called it out for what it is. Even politicians, for example, Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong has said those advocating an interim government are daydreaming. All right. We also have NANS, that's National Association of Nigerian Students, have rejected the idea. A chieftain of the PDP, Charles Idahosa, has said an interim government would only set Nigeria backward. So everyone is speaking against it. So whoever or wherever they are plotting this, I hope they get the message.
Purge it from their mind.
Exactly. More details on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. All right, we also have here Lagos government ready for above normal rainfall emergencies. Thank God. That is on page 27 of...
Somebody's paying attention to that, eh?
Yes. All right, so what we have is the Lagos state government has told the residents that they would experience above normal rainfall amounts, and this is expected to start in the first week of April and cease in December. Wow. So the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, as Mr. Tunji Bello, has said this, and he spoke at the 2023 news briefing on seasonal climate predictions and its socio-economic implications for Lagos. We're in Lagos doing something of the public fund of the nation.
We can come forward.
And trends in the papers. We'll look through Vanguard newspaper very quickly. The major headline on the front page of Vanguard: Nasima, that's the two riders, that debt service is manageable by the country. But the most important thing is that is on trends in the papers. We have run out of time. We'll be back by 8:40 for Mainland Focus, where we would focus on one or two trending stories and open up the phone line for you to join in on the conversation. This is Mainland 98.3 FM, and we'll be right back.